Wow, wow, wow. Another week. Another week is down. Another week of health. Another week of wellness. Another week of reversing diabetes. Another week of fasting. If you've been with us this week, you've had a great time talking through our fast. Hey, I'm new to you. If I am, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. I'm an endocrinologist, and the E at the end of my name stands for endocrinology. And here on the channel, I educate, I empower, I encourage you to take charge of your health in your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, new you, I'm talking to adults with type 2 diabetes who want to reverse their diabetes. And we've been using an amazing tool. One of the tools in our armamentarium is fasting. And so I'm excited that you are here with me. If you are new, go ahead and put new in the comments in the chat, because I'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and some music, and let you know that we are glad that you are here hanging out with us as we go through the evening tonight. If you're new as well and you have questions, go ahead and put those in the comments, because we'll get to those here as we go through the night. And tonight we're talking about fasting. Okay, fasting is an amazing tool. We'll get into some of the intricacies of fasting, go do a little overview, if you will, as we do on Fridays for fasting. And as you know, like we do, I've got my meters that are off to the side that you'll take a look at in just a minute. I've got my meters and I've got my report, so you can see what's been going on over the last little bit, so you can see what has been happening. For all of you who are out there, thank you for joining us. I do see Steve that just popped in. And whatever platform you are joining us from, whether it's Instagram or X, Twitter, or LinkedIn, or Facebook, or of course here on YouTube, we are glad that you have joined us and are here hanging out. If you have fasted this week, go ahead and put yes in the comment. If you fasted this week, go ahead and put yes in the comments. We've been asking people to fast, will work their way up to a fast for at least a 24-hour period once a week. So if you did your fasting this week, right, today's Friday, so you still have Saturday, but if you fasted this week, go ahead in the comments, put yes, so that we can know what's been going on. And I'm gonna, let me hop over, because I'm gonna actually put yes. Let me drop that in really quickly. So yes, I'm gonna put that in, and I'm gonna say, hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to the show. Here we go. There we go. Yeah. So so yes. Remember, that was one of our goals. In fact, that was in the month of February. That was our challenge, right? And we'll come back. We'll talk about the challenges here in just a minute, as we get into the rest of the show. But like I do, let's go ahead and let's do a check-in. I am not currently fasting, right? We ended our fast a couple of days ago now. Yesterday? Was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. See, I've lost a day. If you didn't watch that show, go ahead and watch it from yesterday. You'll see. So, breaking the fast with birthday cake. I think that was the title of what we did and the discussion that we had yesterday. But let's go ahead and do a quick check-in. Usually, well, let's back up for a minute. Let me do it a little differently. So for those of you who are joining us, if you've not been on the channel before, if you've not been in the community, let's talk a little bit about where we are. So the goal for New Year, New You, right? And you'll see that everywhere. New Year, New You. That's our process. That is our push. That is the program. That's the plan. That's the structure, right? All of those words. New Year, New You. And our goal is for type 2 diabetes to reverse their diabetes. And in the process of doing that, there are several tools that we are learning in how we go about doing that, right? We'll talk about what the pillars are, but one of the tools is the tool of fasting. And the tool of fasting becomes very important as we talk about the pillars. So the pillars are decrease insulin, suppress appetite, and get rid of as much sugar as possible. Those are the three pillars of the reversing diabetes plan. Right? That's how we reverse diabetes. Decrease insulin, suppress appetite, and get rid of sugar. And the tool of fasting, because you're not putting any calories in, the tool of fasting achieves all of those pillars, right? Because if you're not putting anything in, of course, the sugar goes down. If the sugar goes down, insulin goes down. If insulin goes down, it suppresses the appetite. Boom, all three have been hit. And so in the process of putting our diabetes in remission or reversing diabetes, one of the tools, not all of the tools, because there's several that we learned, but one of the big tools is the tool of fasting. And so we asked everyone to work their way up to be able to fast for at least a 24-hour period once a week, right? And so here on the channel, we've been doing the fasting, and I've actually done some more extended fasts. Started out doing a 72-hour fast, then a 96-hour fast. One week we did a 102-hour or 104-hour fast. This week we actually did an 88-hour fast. Okay, and so today we're going to review, just kind of walk through fasting and some of what that does. And you're going to get to see what I've eaten today, or what I will eat today, because I have not eaten anything yet. But you'll get to see that here in just a little while. I'm not gonna spoil it for you. Okay, and so let's go ahead and let's hop over and let's do the check-in. So usually I do a check-in where I talk about how I'm feeling physically, mentally, and emotionally. Physically, mentally, and emotionally. I did a check-in yesterday to talk about how I was feeling while I was fasting over those 88 hours. And today I want to do a check-in really to talk about on a non-fasting day. On a non-fasting day, what are things that I should be looking for? What are things that you should be looking for as you're doing your check-in? Okay. So physically, as you come out of a fast on a non-fasting day, as you come out of the fast, you want to be cautious in how you break the fast. I broke my fast yesterday with, what did I break? Oh, sorry. I broke my fast yesterday with birthday cake, right? So high carbs, high processed, and you guys saw the spike in blood sugar. And I mentioned that I was feeling a bit more hungry, or my appetite had been stimulated as a result of that, and so I was eating. And so I actually feel a little bloated today. Okay, I haven't eaten anything since last night, right? So I usually do, I'm working on doing a 22, 23-hour intermittent fasting on the days when I'm not doing extended fasting. So that's usually Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, into Tuesday. We do the intermittent fasting, and then we start, of course, the extended fasting at that point. So today, I'm feeling a bit tired because I stayed up late last night, feeling a little bit bloated, and I think that was because of the things that I ate yesterday. So they were highly processed, highly refined. The sugar, of course, that comes from the birthday cake, and then I used cheese as I got into the rest of the evening to eat in terms of my meal. So physically, that's what I'm feeling. Mentally, actually feeling clear. As I mentioned, I'm a little tired. Today was kind of a bit of a lazy day because we don't see patients on Fridays. Fridays are usually my catch up, kind of administrative, social media, church catch up type of day, and so that's what I've been doing today. Talked to my team this morning. They were in the office. Then went with my son. His birthday is coming up tomorrow, so we went to get haircuts. And anyway, so lots of different things there. So mentally, actually feeling clear, not feeling foggy, not feeling dull. And then emotionally, excited because we're celebrating birthday. We're celebrating anniversary coming up next week. And of course, part of getting ready for lunch and so forth tomorrow is cleaning up, which I don't like to do, but hey, you got to do it. And so that's what I was doing right before I came on ear here. All right. So that's what I'm doing physically, mentally, and of course, emotionally. What are you doing? So I want you in the chat, if you fasted this week, and I saw some yeses, we're going to take one. So let's talk physically. If during your fast, you were feeling extremely good, you're feeling well, so that's a 10, right? Put a 10. if you were feeling, I was a little lightheaded, maybe a little weak, maybe a little tired, we're going to start with 1 being, okay, this was not a good week, and 10 being, oh, this was a terrific week in terms of how I felt physically. So this week, while I was fasting, I'm going to go ahead and say that I was probably, I'm probably going to put a 9. Okay, let me do that. I'm going to pop it over here. I'm going to put a 9. Boom. So I was feeling a 9. Okay. That's what I was feeling. And let's see, I'm going to hop over here as well. And I'll put a 9. There we go. Okay. So go ahead and put, if you fasted this week, physically, how were you feeling during the fast? Okay. All right. And then let's go ahead and let's take a look at what my monitors are saying right now that my blood sugars are. And you'll see that's my Libre that you're seeing on the screen right now. Blood sugar is 98. And my Dexcom is saying 117. And notice the difference between the two. Notice the difference between the two. So 98, 117. Was it 98? Yeah, 98 and 117. And as you know, meters, continuous monitors, regular finger sticks can be about 20% off. I was talking to someone this week in the office who's an engineer, and I was explaining that, and he's like, oh, that's a big difference. It is a big difference. Okay. All right. And then let's go ahead and see what my Keto Mojo and my Contour are saying my blood sugars are right now. Let's go ahead and grab a strip for each of these. We'll get one here for the Contour. And of course, the Keto Mojo gives me both glucose and it also gives me ketones. All right, so we'll see what my ketones are. If you remember last night, I think they were 0.3. And that was after just eating for, I think at that time I'd eaten for about 4 hours. And so here's my strip, my test strip. Oh, it's not my strip, but my Lancet. So let's go ahead. We're going to break this off. Get a poke right there so you guys can hear what that sounds like. That gives me a drop of blood, which we'll start by putting on Keto Mojo and then, of course, on the Contour. And while that's working, I'll have to get another drop of blood because we do our ketones as well. So 104 for the Keto Mojo, 105 for the Contours. That's actually pretty close to each other. And then 117 was my Dexcom, and then 98, or 97 now, was my Libre. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this out. And we'll get our ketone strip in there. And we'll see what that is. Go ahead and get that started. And of course, I'm not going to show you what that... You guys saw someone's trying to call in on my phone. All right, we're not going to show you what that is right now. We'll come back and we'll take a look at that here in just a little while. Let me go ahead and let's hop over and let's say hello to some community members that we see out there. So Steve, hey Steve, Steve is saying hello. And Steve is saying yes, and I'm assuming that's because you fasted this week. And Steve says 24 hours every day, but today, blood sugar was a little high this morning, so after some protein, and it came back down. So Steve, if you don't mind sharing with us, how high did it go? How high did the blood sugar go? Okay. And so during my fast, I was saying physically I was feeling a 9, and Steve said the last 3 days have been great. I love that. Last 3 days have been great. And let's see, let's hop over. We do see some folks over there on Instagram. So if you're out there, if you fasted, put yes, and then physically, 1 being physically, how were you feeling? 10 being, oh, this was like the best time I've ever had. And then 1 being, this was not so good. Okay. All right. So our conversation is about fasting. Right? So fasting review, what you need to know. Okay? So a successful fast has several phases. The pre-fast, or preparing for the fast, the fast itself, and then breaking the fast. And each phase is just as important as the other, right? So preparing for the fast, just as important as the fast itself, and then of course just as important as breaking the fast. Because how you get into the fast, how you get through the fast, and how you end the fast all has to do with how successful you're going to be. So when we talk about preparing for the fast, what is most important is in preparing for the fast, and there are really three things, probably four, but we'll talk about three of them. Number one is making sure you are rested. Your body goes through stresses on a daily basis. And when we are fasting, we need our bodies to be able to easily convert energy from one source to another. We need to be able to flip, right? So keto adapted is what people talk about. So we need the body to be able to do that. And when you're not rested, it makes it more difficult for you to really kind of get into and get through fasting. So because even though fasting has all of these wonderful benefits, if we're not careful, if we're tired, if we're fatigued, then we interpret that as, oh, the fast is causing a problem. And so we end up breaking the fast, not because the fast was causing a problem, but just because we were tired. We were fatigued. And so we want to make sure that we are well rested. The other thing is, if you're not well rested and you don't get into the fast successfully or get through the fast successfully, the next time you want to fast, your brain is going to remember what it was like last time and say, oh yeah, that was terrible. I'm not doing that again. So number one, we want to be rested. We want to make sure that you are well rested. Number two, we want to make sure that you are getting good hydration, that prior to getting into the fast, that you are drinking enough fluids. Because as you fast, you are going to lose fluids. And often, because we're not thinking about eating, we also don't think about drinking, right? So during a fast, you will lose some liquid, you will lose some hydration. And so making sure that you're tanked up prior to that gets you into the fast. You don't feel lightheaded, dizzy, sweaty, all of those things that may go along with not necessarily the fasting, but go along with having a lower volume. And so lower volume can cause wooziness, lightheadedness, dizziness, and also cause fatigue and mental fogginess. So number one, rested. Number two, make sure you're hydrated. And then number three, make sure that you are not planning or coming out of a stressful event. So during the time when you're fasting, don't let that be the time when you're planning to get married or planning to move or planning to, build a new building or whatever it is, right? So all those stressful things. Don't let that be the time when that happens, or coming out of a stressful event. Because the stress that we have causes high cortisol levels. Cortisol causes some anxiety. It causes elevated blood sugar. It causes, when the blood sugar goes up, it causes insulin to come out. When insulin comes out, it makes us crave things. And when we're craving, we have a more difficult time getting into and being successful in the fast. So rested, hydration, and making sure that we're not in a stressful time. Now, I said three, but let me add a fourth one in there. And the fourth one is to make sure that when you are eating on non-eating days, as you're moving into the fast, that you are making sure that you're eating a balanced meal. I'm not talking about in terms of calories, right? So I'm not that I'm saying go and gorge up on calories so that when you get to the fast that that you have all that food in you. What I'm talking about is making sure that you're eating a well-balanced meal with full of nutrients, vitamins, and so forth. because that helps you as you get into the fast. Because if you have deficiencies because you've not been doing a good job of eating when you're on those non-eating days, then that makes it much more difficult during the fast to be successful, right? And then just some tips. Make sure that you're not coming out of a fast into a fast. Make sure you're not coming out of an extended fast and going directly into an extended fast, for example. You can come out to it from an extended fast or an intermittent fasting into a, you can do intermittent fasting into a longer fast. Right? You can do a regular non-fasting day into an extended fast. But make sure you're not coming from an extended fast and going directly into an extended fast. Right? So preparing, making sure that you're doing what you need to do to get ready for the fast. And then the fast itself. And I usually break this fast up into segments, the first 24 hours, then 48 hours, and 72 hours, and so forth. But we're going to do a little bit more granularly here as we get through. So not 24-hour blocks, but a little bit more finer in terms of our description. So the first 6 hours really are the postprandial hours. This is a postprandial phase of what's going on in your body. This is, you've eaten something a little while ago and now you're not eating anything else. And so the body is really kind of taking the food that you've just put in and it's beginning to break it down and beginning to digest it. Your glucose levels can be high depending on what it is that you ate. As a result of higher glucose levels, of course, insulin is high, and insulin is going about the job of making sure that it's storing all those things. It's managing blood sugar, bringing those down. Of course, it's stimulating the appetite because that's what insulin does, right? And it's storing. So your weight actually during that time is probably on its way up, or it's maybe stabilized, but certainly can be increased during that time. So physical state, the body is processing the last meal. Insulin levels are elevated for glucose uptake, right? Once again, blood sugars are high, insulin is high. Processes, so the digestion and absorption is going on. Okay, that's what's happening during this time. And energy levels are high because all of that energy that just comes from the food is being absorbed and is being used. Some of it is being used, some of it's being stored. So 0 to 6 hours, the postprandial phase. 6 to 12 hours, this is the early fasting stage, right? So we've not gone into an extended fast yet. We're still in the early fasting stage. And during this time, insulin levels are starting to decrease and glucose levels, right? Glucose levels have increased already, and this signals the liver to start releasing stored glucose. So insulin levels were high because the blood sugars were high. The insulin has caused the sugar levels to now begin to drop, and because of that, the liver is getting a signal, says, hey, I need to begin thinking about switching over to, well, not switching over, but releasing some of the stored energy that I have in the liver. Remember, the liver can store about 100 grams of glycogen, 100 grams of glycogen. The muscles store about 300. So between the liver and the muscles, that's about 400 grams of glycogen that's stored. And for each gram of glycogen that's stored in the liver, then we have to store 3 grams of water. Okay? All right, so the liver is, putting some of that stuff back out. Glycogenolysis, so breaking down of that glycogen to make sugar is what's going on. And the energy levels, they begin to fluctuate because we're using up all of the ready sugar that's there, and the liver is now having to supply some of it. So you may see some fluctuations as the body is now in the process of using up the glycogen and having to begin thinking about, what do I do next? So that's 6 to 12 hours. And then the transition to using fat. And this is 12 to 18 hours. During this time, the glucose levels, they continue to go down. Because of that, insulin levels continue to go down. And the body is beginning to use fat and transitioning to using that to make sugar. Okay? The liver starts gluconeogenesis. So that is taking non-sugary things and converting it to sugar. So gluconeogenesis. And energy levels may dip. And this is, as we talked a little while ago about making sure that you are well rested. For people who are not well rested, during this period is when sometimes they begin to have trouble because they're already tired from staying up all night, having stressful events that are going on, and they go into an extended fast. And as the body is beginning to transition from burning sugar, burning glycogen, and is now going to get fat, there is some fluctuation in the blood sugar, and so fluctuation in the energy level, and that can be felt as weakness, tiredness, fatigue, and so forth. And this is where some people will fall out and say, okay, the fasting is causing it. Well, it's not the fasting that's causing it. It's probably a combination of things. It's the combination of being tired and the transition to burning fat or gluconeogenesis at this point. Okay? All right, so that's the physical state. The process, the liver starts gluconeogenesis. Energy levels may feel like they dip. People may have some irritability, right? Because their energy level is going down as we're beginning to transition. And they may feel hunger. Yeah, may feel hunger because the body's, hey, what am I going to do? Go get something to eat to replenish what we're losing right now. So 12 to 18 hours. And then 18 to 24 hours, ketosis begins. Now, ketosis probably started a little bit before this, but definitely at 24 hours because it takes about 24 hours for the glycogen that's stored in the liver to be used up. And in those first 48 hours, people will lose weight. Some of the weight is actual weight, but some of it is water. Because remember, as the glycogen goes down, you've just lost, when the body uses up the glycogen, you've just lost 100 grams of glycogen. As a result, you lose 300 grams of water. So basically 400 grams have gone away from the liver. All right. So glycogen stores are nearing depletion, right? 24 hours, leading to increased ketosis. So the body is now taking fat, converting it into energy, and there we get the ketosis or ketones. Autophagy starts up. Yeah, we love autophagy because that's the body's process of cleaning up. It's basically the recycling system for the body. It goes out and finds damaged, torn up, worn out, unused cells, and it recycles them and begins building new proteins, begin using those to build new parts of the body. This is where healing and the improvement in lots of the metabolic diseases begins happening, right? When autophagy comes out. The energy level is initial stages of mental clarity may begin as the brain is now switching over to using ketones. One of my favorite movies, well, let's just say one of my favorite movies. I love superheroes. And recently, we had the whole Marvel Universe thing. And one of my favorite scenes is when Tony Stark, Iron Man, develops the new arc reactor, right? You remember he had the old one and he takes it out, right? And so, it was okay. It was great. It did what it was supposed to do, but it was kind of killing him. And then he takes the new one and he pops it in there and he turns it, click, 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 click. And it's like, right? So think about the brain like that. So when we go from the sugar and it switches over to ketones, the brain's like, I love this thing. And so kind of mental clarity begins to set in. And a lot of people during this time will say, man, I'm clear, I'm sharp. I seem to have better ability to solve problems and so forth. This is what's going on during this phase right near. So the energy levels begin going up and mentation improves. So 18 to 24 hours. And then, let's see, we said ketosis begins. You got that. 24 to 30 hours. So fat adaptation. So now we are fully into ketosis. We are fully into ketosis. We fully transitioned from burning glycogen, using up the glycogen. The glycogen stores are pretty much gone. There may be some still stored in the muscles, but from the liver, definitely that's gone. Significant increase in ketones is going on right now, and we start decreasing the reliance on glucose for energy, gluconeogenesis. So fat oxidation increases. So more fatty acids are converted into ketones. Right? So that process is now in full gear and is going. And as long as we remain in the fasting stage during this time, then that process continues to happen. Okay? And then the energy levels stabilize because we now, like the hybrid car, we've stopped using gas and we are now fully using the battery. So in the body, we've stopped using sugar and we are now fully using ketones for energy. And so the energy levels stabilize during this time. Okay? All right. So we'll come back and we'll talk more about that in just a minute. Let's see. If that makes sense to everybody, right? So that's the process of going through the fast itself. In the fast, we still need to make sure that those things that we talked about that got us into the fast, making sure we're rested, making sure we're hydrated, making sure that we're not in any stressful situations, and making sure that we were, those are the three. So during the fast, that's it, right? As you're getting through the fast, and we did 24, 30 hours, that same thing happens as we go through the next 48 hours and then 72 hours or even longer in extended fasting, making sure that you're hydrated. If you recall, several weeks ago, I didn't do a good job during one of my weeks of hydration, and I ended up feeling lightheaded, dizzy, and that was the one where we did the show on electrolytes, right? So go back and watch that show. There's several electrolyte formulas that are out there that you can use. I tell people start drinking early as you prepare for the fast. Drink consistently through the fast. That will help. Now, some of you will still need electrolytes. But if you do a good job of hydration, most of us can get through a fast, a shorter extended fast, so maybe 24, 36, even 48 hours, without having to use electrolytes. Okay? So make sure that you're doing that. All right, let's see. So I see some questions out there, or some folks that hopped in. Oh, I do see Steve said that his blood sugar got up to 164. Not terrible, but more than he likes. Yes, I see that, Steve. I understand. Jennifer saying, hey, Steve. Steve is saying back, hey, Jennifer. And Steve said, what are your thoughts on a ketone breathalyzer? Okay, I love it. Love that question. So what are my thoughts on ketone breathalyzer? So I like them. So there are three main ways that we can check ketones. One, we can check them using urine dipstick. All right. So basically, you collect some urine and you dip it. It's a strip into it, and I think, if I recall correctly, I thought I did a show where we actually walked through that. If not, I may go back and pull out that video and actually show it. I'm trying to remember where that video is right now. Okay, probably not today. But basically you dip it, and so you can read based on the color changes how much ketones there are. The issue with the urine dipstick is while that really has been the standard for a long time, it takes a while for ketones to show up in the urine, and then it takes a while for ketones to go away. All right, so you can actually have elevated ketones if we check it in another way, and then you check your urine and there are no ketones. And then once your ketones have gone away and we check it with another method, we find no ketones, but if we check it in the urine, it's still there. All right, so those two things keep in mind. The other thing is, if you're having difficulty with colors, right? Because basically what you're doing is you're using a little color chart, and the color chart tells you where the ketones are, how much they are, and it kind of gives you 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus large, moderate, medium, right? So those are the kind of words they give you. They don't actually give you a number, right? So that's urine dipstick. And then we can also use it with a breathalyzer, and these are getting better and better. And the technique matters, right? Because you have to be able to blow into this thing, and you have to be. It's kind of like when somebody uses an inhaler for asthma. Often, depending on the technique that the person uses, that gives you some of the variability that you will see. Okay, so there are some very good breathalyzers that are out there right now, and the technology is getting better and better and better. Okay, and then of course the meters like the one I have, the Keto Mojo, is another method of doing that. So those are the three main methods right now. There are technologies to try to get ketones from skin and other places. When we do ketones at the hospital, I send patients to get. Sometimes I'll send them for a screening. Particularly if I'm thinking that they are in DKA. If I see patients in the office, they have elevated blood sugars, over blood sugar of 200, we check urine in the office. If they have moderate or large ketones, then they get sent to the lab, and we're doing blood for checking their anion gap, checking their ketones, checking their urine, checking some other things at that point. Okay, so hopefully, Steve, that answers your questions about your question there. All right. And so let's hop back over. So fat adaptation. So when we break our fast, it's just as important as going through the fast if we're going to be successful. So when we're breaking the fast, here are some tips. Number one, monitor blood sugar, right? Because we want to know what happens to blood sugar post-fast. That's going to be very important, because that helps you to begin adjusting what you do and what you're eating. It allows us to see where your blood sugars are when you start, when you end the fast, and then what they do as you get through the rest of the fast. As you guys know, I track my blood sugars like not almost. I track them all the time. And you see that here because I've got these monitors. So to track your blood sugars. Be mindful of your portions. Because if you're not careful, then you can overeat as you're coming out of a fast. And we don't want to do that, because that then messes up what we were doing in the first place. That causes spikes in blood sugar. It causes weight to go up. It causes appetite to go up. It causes blood sugar to go up, right? So it causes insulin to come out, and all those things that go along with that metabolic disease. Okay, so be careful. So portion size is very, very important. When we did our check-in yesterday, I think one of the things at the bottom, it says portion sizes, or portion was one of the things you need to consider. So monitor blood sugar, watch your portion sizes, eat slowly, right? Don't just sit down. And this is one that I have to admit that sometimes I am guilty of. So I'll eat because I think I'm eating good things, right? Because I'm not eating high carbs. I'm not eating, right? So I'll get a piece of cheese and I'll eat it, and get another piece of cheese and I'll eat it and eat it and eat it, right? And then, I don't have the nuts anymore, but I used to be popping that all the time. So be careful, eat slowly, take your time, start low and go slow. And then avoid sugary and processed foods, which, we mentioned before, making sure that you are doing a good job there. Because if you're not, then the appetite gets stimulated because the sugar comes up, the sugar goes up, insulin comes up, and insulin is an appetite stimulator. Make sure that you are hydrating, right? Make sure that you are hydrating. Water, you can use coconut water, unsweetened. You can use herbal teas, right? So we're still making sure that we're hydrating during that process. Often people will talk about breaking the fast with broths, and we'll talk about that here in just a minute. But making sure that you're hydrated, once again, very important. Now notice hydration was there in the preparation for the fast, hydration is there during the fast, and hydration is there in breaking the fast as well, right? So all of those are very important. And then you want to make sure that you're using protein, right? Very important to use protein, and lots of different versions of protein: eggs, chicken, turkey. If you are vegetarian/vegan, you can use tofu and tempeh, all of those things. So making sure that your meal doesn't consist of just carbs. So pizza, for example, probably not the thing you want to do in breaking the fast. Or just a bowl of rice or pasta. Or like in my case yesterday, I broke the fast with a birthday cake. Now, what I should have done is I should have eaten something prior to that, so that when I got to the birthday cake, it was not the first thing. But I didn't want to break my fast earlier, right? So I did want to get to that 88-hour fast, and so that was right. So it's a compromise there. Okay, so make sure that you're using protein. So eggs, chicken, turkey. Turkey breast. Don't sit down and have a 7-course meal, right? So be cautious with that, because that can then drop you into some problems. And then you want to make sure that you're using healthy fats. Healthy fats. So avocados, great. Nuts, awesome. Seeds, great as well. This past Monday on our show, we did a show and it was titled Top Foods to Stabilize Blood Sugar. And one of the groups was nuts and seeds, right? So great for non-fasting times, but also great for breaking the fast, because they don't cause as big a spike. Now, for me, when I eat nuts, almonds, cashews, those are my ones, I see a big spike in my blood sugar. In fact, my blood sugar can go from a 60 to 170. Of course, that depends on how many of those I eat. And it's typically not the 10 or 12 that they tell you is part of the serving size. All right, so maybe that's just my problem. Okay. And then, of course, as I mentioned before, broths. And often what is recommended is that you actually break the fast with a broth prior to eating other things. So break the fast with a broth to get something in your system, and then after about half an hour to an hour, you come back, and then you can eat additional things. Okay. If you remember, several times I actually broke my fast with broth, and then I went on to eat other things during that process. So broth. If you are vegetarian, if you're vegan, you can use vegetable broths. Broths are important because they can allow you, particularly if it's not the vegetable variety, they can allow you to stay in ketosis for a little longer, even though you're eating. Right? Stay in ketosis a little longer, even though you're eating. This past, when was that? Wednesday night. Is it Wednesday or Thursday? We did a show on fasting mimicking diets, and some of those diets will push the calories down so low that it tricks the body into getting into the kind of fasting arena. Okay. Let's see what else. So considerations. When we are breaking a fast, choose foods that can help you maintain stable blood glucose levels while offering nutritional value and are gentle on the digestive system, right? This discussion, we want to focus on low glycemic index foods, lean protein, healthy fats, and making sure that you are staying well hydrated. Okay? So that's our fast, y'all. Awesome. All right. So let's see. What do you think my ketones were? Yeah, let's go back there and let's take a look at ketones. Let's hop over, and so I'm going to need to start my Keto Mojo app. Let's see, here we are. Keto Mojo. That's coming up. Let's go ahead and turn this on and get that synced. And we should see syncing there come up in just a minute. Hopefully, let's see. Let's go ahead and sync it. It should be pulling the data over. And I'm gonna predict maybe 0.1 or 0.2. Yesterday was 0.3. Remember? Huh. So did we not get anything today? Yeah. What was my blood sugar? You guys remember? Oh, there. Yeah, that's it. That is today. Yeah. So we were 104. So 0.3. So yesterday we were 0.3, and today we're 0.3 again. Okay. When we talk about ketones, ketones that are less than 0.5 considered normal, 0.5 to 1.5 considered nutritional ketosis, and then above 1.5 considered therapeutic ketosis. And so that's what you're seeing there. If I look at the graph, the turquoise line being those are the ketones, and the tan line being blood sugar. And so as I ate and my blood sugar started rising, insulin had to come out to deal with the blood sugar, and so ketones and insulin can't exist together, and so the ketones have to go down, and so that's what you're seeing dropping there. All right. Okay, and then let's go ahead and let's take a look at reports. And you'll see on the screen, this is my my Dexcom Clarity report. And you see my average blood sugar of 109 on the screen. Let me go ahead and I'm going to change this. Let me get my mouse turned on here so you can hopefully see it. So I'm going to change this, and we want to look at what my average blood sugar is for 90 days. And it's probably going to be about 105. Okay, 103. There you go, 103. I'm in target 90% of the time, which puts me in target 70 to 180. My glucose management indicator, 5.8, once again, consistent with what we expected and what we actually got when we did my labs. And you'll see that there on the screen, right in the middle of the screen, 5.8 was what my blood sugar, my A1C was at that time. Let's just get back over here. All right, come on. There we go. And let's take a look at a daily graph. And so broke the fast on Wednesday, and we'll take there because you'll see. So right here about 5 o'clock was when we broke the fast. That was the birthday cake. I think I still have, do I have that video? Yeah, I have that video. So that's the birthday cake. Hopefully you'll see that in just a sec. There you go. That's the birthday cake that my wife made. That's my son just popping by me. And then in the background, you see some of our team members from the office. It was good. It was good. It was good. It was good. And so right there, right, so 8, and then you see the blood sugar popped up to, I think it got up as high as 170. Okay, maybe 167, right? And then came back down. So that was Thursday. That was yesterday. And so I ate, and so blood sugar is 120s, 140s. This is today, right? So that's a error right there because, you know, I think it just lost connection. And then the rest of today, right, kind of stayed in the 140s, 140s, 150s, and then started climbing and going back down. So right now, let's see, where are we? So 114 is what the Dexcom says my blood sugar is, and the Libre. Oops, that's not what I wanted to show you. The Libre says 97. Okay, awesome. All right, let's see what else. So what I did want to show you is, so I went out with my son today, and we were hanging out, and he wanted to have, well, I convinced him to have some Chipotle. And so just quickly, a question is, can you go to a store, right, a fast food place, and have something that's healthy? And so let me see, I'm going to pop over so you guys can see what I have. All right, so I've got a burrito bowl, and in the burrito bowl, I told them no rice. I do have some beans in there, and I think it's steak and some cheese. So beans, both beans, black beans and red beans. I've got some steak, got some cheese, and there was a new meat thing that they had that I'm trying. I forgot what it's called. If you guys know, if you remember what it's called, go ahead and pop that in the chat. And let me see. Let's do this one. Right. I've not had it, so I'm trying it. Actually, not bad. So can you go to a fast food place and create with what they have something that's healthy? Relatively, right? That's a little spicy. You guys heard me coughing? And so the answer is yes. So I have a lot of people who will come to the office and say that, well, first they don't cook or they don't have time and they eat out a lot. Remember, one of our premises, though, is to minimize processed foods. Minimize processed foods. But if you're going somewhere, when you do eat something, and we all will eat something that's not whole foods, okay? Let's just be honest, because that's just the way life is. If you're eating something, you can go to that establishment and you can get something that is healthy, right? Yes, you can. And this is an example of that. Chipotle, not promoting them, but that just happens to be where we went. And so I got both beans, steak, the new thing that is, I think is arborito, cheese, and lettuce. Awesome. So what have you used before to break a fast? Drop that in the chat. Let us know. What have you used in the past? Of course, now I have some stuff in my teeth. All right. So let's talk. There we go. So let's talk a little bit about, you see that right there? Unlimited. What does that mean? We have unlimited potential to reverse, to improve our health. We have unlimited potential to get better. And it is educating, empowering, and encouraging. Here on the channel, that's what we do. So what you've done in the past does not matter now. The two most important things you have are your time and your health. Whatever's happened before, we can't change. Decisions that you've made, consequences that you currently have, that you're living with, we cannot change that. But what we can do is we can make sure that as we move into the future, that we're doing a good job of managing, of taking care of our health, our time and our health. And unlimited ability, unlimited potential you can tap into with the educating, empowering, and encouraging. So I'm encouraging you to do that. What you've done in the past did not work, but here right now you can be better. You can move into that space. And that's what we do. We educate, we empower, we encourage. Take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, go to the next level. I say that all the time. We educate with the shows, with the podcasts, with the blogs. We encourage or empower with the tools that we learn. We encourage with the community that you are part of, that you are building, that you bring some power and some richness to the community. We educate, we empower, and we encourage. And then the heat model. The heat model is a tool that we've learned. These are the things that push us to eat when we've made a decision that we're not going to. Right? Now, I'm going to tell you that the heat model, we can apply it to lots of different things. Right now, we're applying it to food. We eat because of habits, emotions, access, and taste. That's why we eat. And so being able to be emotionally intelligent to see where we are and then make decisions based on that, very important. So begin learning the heat model. And then here on the channel, our call to action is this. Number one, join the challenges. Don't just let those pass by. Let those be places where you can learn and implement the education that we have provided, that you are getting. Right? Join the challenges. Tell your story when you show up, just like Steve and Jennifer and Teresa when she's here, and all the other folks who are around who are joining and saying, hey, this is what's going on in my life. Do that. So that when we see that, we know that we can do it as well. When we see your successes, when we see your challenges, we rally around you and we say, hey, you're not alone. And we know that we're not alone. And then invite someone. There are over 1 billion people on the planet right now that have diabetes or pre-diabetes. Be a voice for change. Be a voice that says to everyone, hey, let's do something different. Let's not be where we are. We can be better. We can improve our health. We can reverse our diabetes. That's what we're doing here on Dwain Woode, MD. That's our goal. You can be a part of that. You can be a voice for change. All right? Okay, so let's see. Let's see. Jennifer says hello. Let's see. What are your thoughts on keto? Okay, we talked about that. Jennifer said, this is my issue. Coming out of a fast, overeating, then being miserable. Yeah. So that's why it is so important, Jennifer, that the very first thing you eat, plan. I plan usually to eat cheese. All right, that's usually my plan. So after we did those initial times when we saw spikes because of nuts, spikes because of beans, spikes because of whatever, that's what I use cheese. I've not gone back to eggs, but I think that's going to be the next thing I do. Now, you got to be careful because you got to balance them, right? Because you remember when we did my labs, because I had moved from eating a lot of carbs to eating cheese, now my cholesterol was up a little bit. So we've got to always be mindful of a balance. But yeah, so plan. And it's an ongoing process, Jennifer, right? So it's not a one-time thing. And we do what we can, where we are, what we know, and we keep trying. We keep at it. Okay, each time we do it. Steve says macadamia nuts. Okay, yes, Steve, those are good. You know, I have not tried other nuts. Maybe I need to do that so I can see what they do to my blood sugar as well. Steve says some form of protein, but I'd like to have biscuits and. Let's see, you get some music for that. Yes. Because it could be so tempting, right? Could be so tempting to do that. Teresa says, hey, doctor and everyone. Hey, Teresa, thanks for stopping through. Glad that you're here. Teresa said, I've not gotten good on planning. It's a work in progress. Teresa, and everyone. Okay? So, once again, we're working for progress, not perfection. And as we move through this together, that's why the community is so important, because we get to support each other and say, hey, we know that there are places where you have challenges. Let's come alongside each other and let's support each other. Teresa said, I love those, Steve. So the macadamia nuts. Yeah, definitely. Okay. And let's see. Okay, there we go. I'm just looking over at Instagram to see what's over there. All right. So I do want to make a couple of comments. You guys may have noticed as we went through the week, that last week and this week, that you saw a lot more of the shows showing up. We recasted them, and we're starting a new feature coming up. Actually, starting this we did it last Sunday. As a test, and it's going to be starting officially this Sunday, and it's going to be called. Let me pop it up. I want to show you the. Where is it? There it goes. Boom. Come on. All right, it's going to be called Week in Review. If I can get that to come up, where is it? Okay. That didn't work the way I anticipated it. There we go. Week in Review. So Week in Review is going to start at 6 o'clock, where we are recasting, reviewing all the shows for the week, right? So the main show on Monday, and then the check-in. So that'll be starting at 6 o'clock on Sunday. Okay, so if you're out there, if somebody's missed anything, you can join in, drop in, and just hang out with us as those are coming through again. All right. So having said that, y'all, I'm excited when I can get to hang out in this space with my people, with my community. So glad that you all are here. Remember, take care of yourself. We are working to reverse diabetes, working to improve where we are. Right? That's our goal. We're reversing our diabetes. We are getting better at our metabolic health. As I always say, this is Dr. Dwain Woode, that's Wood with an E. Here in the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your healthier life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, new you. Good night, everybody. Have a great weekend. Join the Weekend Review on Sunday morning. And then Monday, we'll see you again here, 7 p.m. Central, for our main show right here on Dwain Woode, MD. Bye-bye. Have a great weekend.